What happens when an aspiring Austrian painter and a rough-around-the-edges Georgian revolutionary cross paths? Metaphorically, of course. Spoiler alert, it's not the start of a buddy comedy. These two men, Adolf Hitler and Joseph Stalin, ended up shaping the 20th century in the most terrifying ways imaginable. Let's rewind to the late 1800s. Adolf Hitler is born in Austria in 1889. He's a quiet, artistic kid who dreams of painting grand buildings and landscapes. Over in Georgia, no, not the one with peaches, a young Iosif Jugashvili is born in 1878. You probably know him better as Joseph Stalin. These two men grew up worlds apart, culturally, politically, and temperamentally. But they had one thing in common. Both were about to make history in ways that would leave humanity scarred. Hitler's early life wasn't exactly inspiring. He loved art, but his application to the Vienna Academy of Fine Arts was rejected, twice. Imagine that admissions officer realizing later they turned down Hitler. Rejected and aimless, Hitler drifted through life until he found his true passion. Not painting, but politics. Fast forward a few years and he's leading the Nazi Party, preaching a twisted ideology of racial supremacy and anti-Semitism. By the 1930s, Hitler was Chancellor of Germany, and he had big plans. Rebuild the economy, rearm the military, and, oh yeah, take over Europe. Meanwhile, over in Russia, Stalin was carving his own path. Born into poverty, young Joseph had a rough start. He trained as a priest. Yes, really. But was expelled for, let's just say, questionable behavior. He ditched the priesthood for revolution, joining the Bolsheviks and working his way up the ranks through a mix of cunning, loyalty, and sheer ruthlessness. When Lenin died in 1924, Stalin outmaneuvered his rivals and took control of the Soviet Union. Under Stalin's rule, the USSR underwent rapid industrialization, but at a horrific cost. Millions died in purges, famines, and forced labor camps, all while Stalin tightened his iron grip on power. Now, here's where things get interesting. Hitler and Stalin were ideological enemies. Fascism versus communism, like the world's darkest rock-paper-scissors match. But in 1939, they shocked everyone with the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, a non-aggression treaty. The two agreed to carve up Eastern Europe like it was a pie at Thanksgiving. Poland split down the middle. The Baltic states, Stalin's new playground. Of course, this friendship didn't last. In 1941, Hitler betrayed Stalin with Operation Barbarossa, launching the largest invasion in history. Stalin, caught off guard, rallied his forces and turned the tide at battles like Stalingrad. By the end of World War II, Hitler was dead, taking his own life in a bunker as the Allies closed in. Stalin, however, lived on, leading the Soviet Union into the Cold War and reshaping global politics. Together, these two men were responsible for tens of millions of deaths. Hitler's Holocaust and Stalin's purges remain some of the darkest chapters in human history. Here's a question for you. What if Hitler had been accepted to art school? Would we be admiring his landscapes in museums instead of studying his atrocities in history books? And what if Stalin had stuck with the priesthood? Would the world have been spared his reign of terror? In the end, these two men showed us how a mix of ambition, ideology, and unchecked power can lead to unimaginable destruction. They weren't just leaders, they were warnings. So, what do you think about this dark tale of two tyrants? Let me know in the comments. How can I make these videos even better? And don't forget to subscribe. I promise it's way less stressful than a history lecture, and unlike Stalin, I won't purge you if you miss one.